do in our line of work is that we try to make it so the end user has to do the least amount, and our clinical team on this side takes care of all the technology. So when we interface with a GoPro or a video laryngoscope, on that end, I wanted to be able to just connect the cord, and then our video engineers or video people have it all worked out in the background, that we don't have to have them push this button, push that button to get there. On our end, our clinicians in the hub, once the device is connected, they will say, okay, I got it now, and they take kind of control. So like a video laryngoscope, the doctor's using it, but we can watch how he's putting it down the airway. We can help recommend different little techniques. And if it's somebody that doesn't do it regularly, we can help them walk through. And our clinicians are awesome at walking through them on a day-to-day basis what they need to do. And actually, all of our clinicians are our first line of support. So they will work through something, and then they bring it back to us when they can't figure out what has happened at the site. So we like the site to, like in our ER, press a button, and the rest is done by our clinicians on this side. So eRad-Onc is where the physician has to be present, or they have to have a physician in the facility at all times when they're administering radiation or doing a CT scan, to make sure that the radiation is placed in the right spot. So what we did is that we took the Poly Group Series 700 and we added 3 cameras on it, 2 to place on either side of the room so they can zoom in and make sure through the lines of the devices that they're using there to make sure that they are in the right spot at the right time. They also can talk and ease the mind of the patients at the time that this is being administered, that, you know, what to expect, what to happen next. As the patient is getting the radiation, they also are monitoring a screen in the control room where the person there is helping administer the radiation, but they're also looking at all the factors that go along with that. And the doctor and the technician there will talk about what are the next steps, how are we going to handle it. And it just gives that avenue, because they're hard to come by, eRad-Onc doctors. And then they're also hard to make sure that they're following the patients appropriately. And then a lot of times we'll follow up after with follow-up care in these facilities. So I have a lot of doctors that work between 2 or 3 sites on a regular basis, and it really works out well for them. We also do a NICU where we put Group Series 500s in sites. And what we do is we attach a GoPro, because in an event that a baby is born at a facility, they are constantly, especially some of the facilities don't have babies born there every day anymore. A lot of them do not. They come to a bigger facility to do that. And what happens is that due to blizzards, due to a baby coming too soon, they wind up in the small hospital. And what they need to do is have an access to a neonatologist right away. So what happens is they get them on the screen, they walk them through. Sometimes it's maybe just to help stabilize the mother a little bit more. Sometimes the baby comes and it's very premature. So what we did is put a GoPro attached to the bassinet at these facilities and hooked it up the Group Series. And why we put the GoPro sits over the baby. We have it mounted on an arm and it sits over the baby, and the doctor can go from the GoPro camera to the Polycom camera back and forth. And what happens is when they have a baby born too early, usually there's 3 or 4 nurses around that bassinet. So you can't use the camera that sits on top of the cart. And so this was a way that we could include functionality. They can move it down to see breaths. They can move it to make sure that we're getting all the, if they have to put an IV in, to help put an IV in. And it just makes it a better access for the physicians.